You want it done by the book? Sure, but don't complain when it backfires. When the boss said just follow the rules, I took it literally. I spent the whole day stacking chairs exactly 6 inches apart, just like the safety manual says. Nobody could sit, but hey, I conformed. Next time, maybe they'll reconsider the spirit of the rules. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Jon. That's me. Today we're taking a look at r/malicious compliance. Something a little bit different today, recording after dark. Oh, that might be a cool name for a new channel. Yeah, like I can keep up with the channels I've got. Speaking of which, I actually uploaded to the Law and Foolishness channel today. So if you like body cam videos and like to hear me run my mouth, and this could be the video or the channel for you. So I'll try to remember to put a link down below in the description, or maybe in one of the top comments. I'll pin a comment or something. Anyway, if you like that kind of stuff, head on over there and check it out. Been a really productive couple days here at the Uncle Jon recording studios. Forgot to close the door behind me so you can see my little grandson's Christmas lights around his window. I'm pretty sure they're not Christmas lights anymore. They're just Nate lights. Anyway, but yeah, got a couple videos done this week and feeling pretty good about it. So hopefully we can get back on a little bit of a routine here. And I'm still working on trying to figure out the format for the channel for the farm. I think that's going to be my logo, me doing air quotes. I hate air quotes, but anyway. All right, guys, enough jabbering. I'll probably jabber more anyway, but let's do some malicious compliance. Mandatory, you say? Meetings. Arguably a waste of everyone's time, a worthless imposition upon our finite existence, but doubly so when one works nights. Tonight, gentle readers, I have a small tale of mismanagement and begrudging compliance with absurd requirements. The fallout isn't much, but I consider it a personal win. So it came to pass many, many years ago, when I was still less than a year working nights at this hotel, that the manager called a great and mighty meeting. All hands on deck, a mandatory meeting of great importance, new policies and practices, lunch to be provided, all quite urgent and very mandatory. I read the notice and informed the manager that none of the topics to be discussed were anything I had to deal with during the night shift. Maintenance, housekeeping, a night auditor cares not for these things. Could I, in fact, just skip the whole thing? Nope. Pleased that this would cut into my sleep schedule fell on deaf ears, even if the meeting was functionally useless to me. It would be seen as unfair if everyone else had to show up and I didn't. Be there tomorrow at noon or be written up. Fine then. This was before inventories were easily searched online, so it took a while to make a few calls, but I finally found what I needed. 20 miles away. A quick shopping trip, then after work I went home for a short nap before the meeting. My manager bounced into the meeting, ready to dazzle us with whatever speech he had prepared, only to notice all his employees stealing glances at the back corner. There I was, plaid pajamas, dark blue bathrobe, bed-rumpled hair, dark bags under my eyes. I might have touched them up a little bit with makeup. And upon my feet were a set of brand new fuzzy bunny slippers that I had dashed to get for this very occasion. The boss sputtered protest, but I pointed out that for me this was effectively 3 a.m, so his presentation had better be worth it. Spoiler, it was not worth it. Not one item of the meeting had anything whatsoever to do with what I did during the night shift. None of it. Furthermore, the lunch he provided, an admittedly lovely sort of fried rice chicken casserole thing, hit almost all the items on my admittedly rather long digestive naughty list. Onions, heavy cheese, jalapenos, and bell peppers, with enough fats that my comparatively recent gallbladder removal would have noped out of after one bite, so not even the free lunch. As the event went down, with everyone else eating, I went to my manager, looked him dead in the eyes, more or less, I was tired, and told him exactly what a colossal waste of my time this whole thing had been, and that I would not be attending any further mandatory meetings. If there was something I needed to know, a memo would suffice. Thank you. And that was how Squirrel got out of attending meetings forever. There have been other meetings. I've not been invited to attend them. I did attend the manager's going away party, though. That was nice. I could just picture showing up in a meeting in pajamas and bunny slippers with, dark baggy eyes and a little bit of touch-up makeup to give the shadows a little more oomph. Yeah, I never understood. I mean, I get the fact that sometimes there has to be a meeting. But, some management, I don't know where this started. I mean, I guess it's a way to justify their importance, their salary. I don't know. Calling meetings for the sake of having meetings, sometimes you have to have a meeting so you can figure out what the next meeting's going to be about. It's all BS. Now, I will say that a lot of employees don't read memos, whether it's email, whether it's printed out and taped to the monitor on their desk, whatever. They're just not going to pay attention, or they just ignore it outright because they don't care. But I'm pretty sure that being in a meeting, a forced meeting at that, isn't any better. They're just not going to follow suit. But, some people just like to feel important. So there's that. Sorry, sir, you can't enter your building. A few years ago, I worked armed security at a hospital. The Greater Health System owned 3 large hospitals, each with a 24-hour trauma center. It had a couple smaller county hospitals and dozens of clinics scattered across 3 states. I worked at one of the bigger hospitals in a bad part of town. There were legitimate security threats on a daily basis here. One day I was told to stand at the main entrance and keep staff out. I was like, huh? Apparently some middle management person wrote a new policy that staff members are to enter and exit the building through the west entrance only. The main entrance was to be used by patients and guests, and they didn't want employees cluttering the main entrance because, God forbid, people see medical staff upon entering a hospital. My task was to stand at the door and tell nurses, doctors, cafeteria staff, facilities, that's easy for you to say, janitors, etc. to use the west entrance. Anyone who refused had their name written down and would be reprimanded later. Now I had other stuff to worry about, like EDPs fighting people in ER, or people running onto the helipad and taking a selfie with a life flight patient, or dudes on PCP yelling at the wheelchairs, or the old woman with dementia who wandered off and can't find her room. Actual security problems. The main entrance posting was a waste of my time, and it dragged on for several days. Until one day. A man wearing a suit leading a gaggle of important people, all in business attire. The ringleader had an employee ID badge and was speaking enthusiastically to the group. They were heading straight for the main entrance. I say, sorry folks, gotta use the west entrance. Ringleader's like, what? I say, hospital policy, all employees must use the west entrance. Ringleader says, we're going to use this entrance, as he points to the door. I say, okay, but I'll need to take your names down. Your supervisors will be informed. Ringleader stares at me like the biggest idiot alive and holds his ID badge in front of my face for an uncomfortably long time. I took his name down and every single member of his gaggle with painful slowness. I should add they were all very polite despite my obvious lack of F's to give. Shortly after the security supervisor arrives. Supervisor says, hey, how's it going? I say, not bad. I have a dozen or so names, and I show him the list. Supervisor, is that? He points to the ringleader's name. I say, I don't know. His badge said Chief Something Officer. He looked important. Supervisor, Chief Executive Officer? Yeah, I think that was it. Supervisor quickly walks away. It turns out the CEO of the health system was bringing a group of potential investors, the aforementioned gaggle, for a tour of the place. He was never informed of the main entrance policy change and was greatly embarrassed to be stopped at the entrance of his own hospital by some rent-a-cop. Suddenly, as if by magic, staff could use the main entrance again, and I could return to the actual security work. He may call himself a rent-a-cop, but let me tell you something. Security officers in most hospitals, I don't care if it's rural, if it's urban, I don't care what hospital system you're in. Any security guy working in a hospital has got his hands full. That is a job I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Armed or not. I don't care if you're an armed guard, if you're an unarmed guard, if you only have, your nightstick certificate, whatever it is. Is that a thing anymore? Anyway, never, ever look down on hospital security, hospital cleaning staff, because let me tell you something. Most of those guys help make the world go around in that place. And if it wasn't for them, some junkie in the corner, having a conversation with a wheelchair is the least of your worries in most cases. And as far as that CEO goes, or whoever made that mandate, and the CFO, no. Just stop making stupid rules. You come to a hospital, you expect to see staff, nurses, cleaners, security, doctors, whoever, support staff, administrators, the list goes on. It doesn't hurt anybody. They don't care, and you're not actually clogging anything up. Most of those people have somewhere to be. They're not all hanging out in the atrium or the lobby, trying to figure out their next date night. Let's be serious. This isn't television. They've got more things to do, and they don't want to hang out there in front of everybody. Most of the time, they're passing through, getting where they're going, and that's it. But again, middle management always got to mess around with something. You want us to dress in business attire when all the other departments get to wear blue jeans? You got it. This happened many years ago. I worked for a top U.S. banking institution. In our building, all the other departments were allowed to wear blue jeans on Fridays. My manager decided that our department had to wear business attire on Fridays. To be clear, we had no customer-facing presence. Also, our department processes check deposits from ATMs, and they came in mesh bags from the armored couriers. They were usually quite filthy and were frequently wet in bad weather. So when our manager told us we couldn't wear blue jeans on Fridays like every other department, the entire team was upset. Here's where we cue the malicious compliance. The next Friday, I went to my closet and found the most mismatched outfit I could put together, sticking completely to business attire. We're talking pastel floral print shirt with pants with bold colored stripes, not blood colored. I put it on and proudly walked into the office. My manager just happened to be on vacation that week, so nothing was said about my ridiculously mismatched outfit. Fast forward to the next Friday. I once again chose the most hideous combination of an outfit that I could put together. Once again, I walked into the office with my head held high, confident in my business attire. Imagine my surprise when I walked in and everyone on my team had on hideous combinations of clothing. As you can imagine, my boss walks in and sees everyone in their various hideous outfits. The look on her face was priceless, all 15 of us in the hideous outfits, but all meeting the business attire dress code. She pulled us all into a meeting and told us that our attire was entirely inappropriate for a business environment and that she would have to write each and every one of us up. I asked her to pull out the company handbook and read the definition of what it said is business attire. She read it and it stated something like clean and pressed business attire consisting of slacks, skirts, or dresses and clean pressed shirts or blouses. It went on to say something like no blue jeans, t-shirts, ripped or clothes with holes, no sleeveless shirts, no athletic or gym shoes. I asked her where in the guidelines does it say anything about whether the outfits matched or not. She couldn't find anything and said she would have to contact HR to discuss with them what her options were to write us up. Needless to say, none of us were ever written up. She did, however, say we still needed to dress in business attire. Word quickly spread to other departments about her forcing us to wear business attire. The next week, 2 departments around us decided that they would also dress up in hideously matched clothing. The managers of those departments quickly got in touch with our manager and put pressure on her as they didn't like how their employees were dressing. Our manager called us into a meeting and told us we could wear blue jeans on Fridays going forward. Malicious compliance wins. Sometime later, I'll tell you about the sign-in and sign-out board she created. Man, today is all about middle management, lower management, whatever you want to call them. This lady thought she had everybody by the short hairs and was just going to just give it to them, you know? And when they all maliciously complied and put on their thrift store business attire, basically, she just got caught with her pants down. She had no idea what to do or where to turn. And then when she thought she was going to write everybody up, instead of admitting defeat and saying, okay, you guys got me, go ahead and wear your mismatched outfits, or saying, okay, you got me, wear blue jeans on Fridays. Instead of giving in and admitting defeat, she was going to die on that hill. Just dumb. How do these people get in positions of power? I'll never know. Update. I guess you like paperwork. Info. I jumped the gun and posted this without the fallout. To rectify this, here is the story in its entirety, plus the reaction at the bottom. So a little background. I work in U.S. Customs compliance, which due to the current administration is annoyingly unstable. Tariffs are being changed left and right, as well as the definitions of what products count as what kind of products, or materials being classified as specific exceptions. It's a mess. However, there's this thing called duty drawback that ended up being a big deal at my company. To really water it down, if Company A imports products to the US but then immediately ships it to, say, Canada to their franchise stores, Company B, then technically Company A was simply a stop en route and not the ultimate receiver. Company B pays the taxes, called duty, on the product, but because Company A also paid taxes, Company A is due a refund for the duty paid, hence duty drawback. So after months of chasing down this information, going back 5 years, learning we had holes in the info, trying to patch that up, trying to figure out the math, making it accurate, finding errors, etc., up to 16-hour days because someone promised we could get this done in 2 months when we needed 5, and weekends torpedoed by work calls, we finally submitted the application. And it worked. We got a great return, but because we missed the deadline by a day and it was a rocky process, my boss was let go over poor performance and missed opportunities. Never mind the fact that this project was his idea and he was the one who got it rolling in the first place. And then the higher-ups decided that they wanted records of everything covered. Not digital, though. That's not official enough. Printed, in binders, with official letterhead. Sealed and signed, if you would. Well, my boss's superior, who was covering his desk, came to us livid at the extra work we had to do and said, "They want paperwork? They get paperwork. Find the biggest binders you can find and put everything on hold until they get what they want. And just to make sure they see everything, print it single-sided." So far, we have about 3,600 printed pages, hole punched by yours truly, stuffed into 6 binders, and that got us through June of year 1. Of 5. The binder pile is 3 feet tall already, and I get to do more of that when I get back to work. Compared to what I've been through recently, this is practically a vacation, and today I finally got the response. When I came into work, all 6 binders were missing, and I came to find out my new boss had taken them to the higher-ups without us. She apparently marched right over to the executive's office and dropped all 6 binders on the desk without a word. This is paraphrasing, but this is what she relayed to us afterwards. Executive says, what's this? Boss says, "The records you asked for." Executive says, "Ah, good, now." Boss says, "That's the first 6 months." Executive says, The what?" The boss says, "Of the first year of 5. My boss then described in absolute glee how the executive sat there sweating as she continued to explain how she was glad that we could get such important work done in the middle of the staff changes and the policy updates, and she was so happy the executive was willing to store all of the records. Which prompted the executive to ask why they were being stored in his office. Well, that's when he was reminded that due to the digital supremacy of our off-site storage for file retention had been drastically reduced last year. He asked for the rest of the files in PDF. We couldn't stop laughing, although quietly, on the way back to our desks. Vacation over, I guess. Another executive thinking that, they're going to get 2 or 3 binders for 5 years worth of BS. It amazes me that so many managers and executives don't bother to ask questions. They don't bother to do a little bit of research before they start implementing their great ideas. Why would you just assume that first of all, why would you print everything out when everything can be done digitally these days? There's no need, governmentally or otherwise, to have everything on a piece of paper in a binder. It's stupid. But in the end, I guess the PDFs worked after all. So there's that. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you did, do me a favor, click on something down there, and we'll see you on the next video.